John Glasgow said, "The only difference between a rut and a grave are the dimensions." Welcome back to another bonus episode of Thriving Thoughts. I'm your host, Dr. Sherri. On today's episode, you are going to learn how to tell, number one, if you are in a rut, and number two, how you get out of the rut. Before we get to the show today, however, I do want to announce that Season 5 will be launching on July 1st. I misspoke several episodes ago when I said it would launch June 1st. Season 5 of the show, Thriving with Your Ride or Die, launches July 1st. You have an opportunity to be on the show with your friend, your spouse, your coworker, your mentor, whoever it is that helps you grow, flourish, and prosper in this life, who helps you thrive. I'd love to interview the two of you. Just reach out to me. The links to do so are in the show notes. Also, I want to remind you that I have a Thriving Thoughts texting community. It's reserved exclusively for those who are ready to invest in the development of their thought worlds. You can try it free for 14 days. That's right, free for 14 days. After that, it's just $9.99 a month or $99 for the entire year. All you need to do is text the word THRIVE, THRIVE, to 540-369-2139. Friends, if you are in a rut right now, you might be in that rut and you might not even know. Let's start with 3 easy clues. If you say yes to any of these 3 clues being present in your life, chances are you are in a rut, and today's message is for you. Number 1, you are not faced with any adversity in your life. That sounds like a good thing, right? Well, hang in there with me. Number 2, you're not feeling excited or fulfilled. And number 3, you're not making any decisions, and therefore nothing in your life is changing. If you are not currently facing any adversity in your life, you might be surprised to hear me say that that is not the place of thriving. Thriving happens, in other words, growing, flourishing, prospering, it happens in the places of adversity. That's where creativity happens. That's where our enhanced ability to solve problems happens. That's where resilience is created, in the face of adversity. If you are not experiencing adversity in your life, it could be because you are not pushing yourself outside of a comfort zone. And friends, another word for a comfort zone is a rut. If you're not facing any adversity, that means you're going along with the flow. Consider yourself in a current and you're just floating along, letting whatever it is that comes your way present itself to you with no sense of deliberation, no sense of agency. In other words, just going through the motions. Number 2, if there is nothing exciting in your life, if there is nothing that creates or breeds that feeling of excitement, you are in a rut. You see, life is replete with opportunities for us to look forward to something, to be excited about something, either excited to get something or excited to give something. And if we are not excited to receive something, be it promotion at the workplace, a new car, new opportunities with friends, introductions to new people. Also, maybe we're not excited about giving something. You know, waking up and delivering our purpose, that can be exciting. It can be a place of feeling of excitement, and that leads to a sense of fulfillment. So when we're excited about getting something and we're excited about giving something of ourselves, that is stepping out of our comfort zone. There really is no comfort in excitement. Excitement is agitation. It creates friction. It's a good kind of friction, but it creates friction nonetheless. And that is not a comfortable place to be. It's a place of excitement, of anticipation, of eagerness, of deliberation. So if you are not in that place in either receiving or giving something, and preferably, honestly, if you're in a thriving mindset, it must be both. You must be excited to receive and to give. If you're not in that place, then you are in a rut. And finally, number 3, if you are not making any decisions, if nothing in your life is changing, everything is staying the same, day in, day out, nothing is changing, you are in a rut. I want you to picture a dirt road upon which a wagon has traveled. Over time, that wagon will produce ruts. If it travels in the same path other wagons traveling behind it in that same path, there will be a rut that is produced in the road. And at some point, it will be a rut where those wheels to follow will be somewhat forced to go. Because once the rut catches the wheel, it is very difficult to get the wheel out of the rut. The rut is formed with a floor that is lower than the path and walls that provide division from a path and the rut. So once the wagon wheel or the tire, whatever your picture is right now, is down in the rut, it takes a lot of effort to get it out of the rut and back onto a path. Now, I want to talk about this. There's two differences between your path and the rut that you might be in. What we do is we settle for the rut. You might be wondering, why does anyone want to be in a rut? I don't think anybody actually deliberately says, let me go to the rut. But once we're there, sometimes we settle because one, it's a lot of work to get out. Two, being in the rut is not a lot of work. In fact, you don't even have to do a lot of steering. You just have to keep going and the rut steers for you. You don't have to make decisions. You don't have to feel excited about anything. You don't have to face adversity. The well-worn rut will take you where it wants to take you, which is most of the time to a dead end. The path, on the other hand, that rests alongside the rut has many other attributes to it, including rocky outcroppings that you might have to learn how to navigate around, right? Presented with adversity, there's a problem. Then you have to develop a solution. You have to figure out a way around that. Sometimes it stops you completely and it makes you evaluate whether you should turn left or turn right or turn around. The path is a path of deliberation. It's a path of mystery, of surprise, really. That's where that excitement comes in again. When you are on a path, you never know what you're going to get, but you always have a choice in what you do with what you get. When you're in the rut, conversely, you kind of know what you're going to get, which is basically a lot of nothing. You're just going to keep going till you hit a dead end, and then there's really no way out of the rut, and you're choosing not to do anything about it, just kind of along for the ride. So the rut can be comfortable, enticing once we're in it even, because it carries us. But unless we wake up and realize that it's going to carry us to a dead end and determine that we are going to get back on our path, therein lies nothing good for us. It is not the life of thriving. It's really a life of striving. And you never know when that path is going to come to an end and you're going to be forced to make a choice. You have the power right now, if you're in a rut, to get out of the rut. And it's a lot simpler than hefting a wagon, a heavy wagon with all of its wheels, out of a rut and back onto a path that it can navigate independently with agency of its own. Those same 3 clues that allow you to assess whether or not you are currently in a rut, therein is your answer to how to get out of that rut. We're going to go in a little bit of a different order. So let's start with number 2. What brings you excitement? If I ask you that right now and you're thinking, Dr. Sherri, nothing brings me excitement right now. Everything is boring. Everything is run of the mill. This is my life. I'm just going to go through the motions. This is what my life amounts to. You don't have to stay in that rut. So let me ask you this again. What excites you? Take time to pause this episode right now and write down a list of the things that excite you, of the things that energize you. The things that energize you and excite you are the things that will fulfill you and propel you forward and upward out of that rut. That is your springboard for getting out of the rut and back on to a deliberate path. Identify what it is that excites you and energizes you. Once you've done that, let's go to clue number 3 about change and making decisions. Let me ask you this question based on what excites you or what energizes you, that list that you just made. What are the changes that you need to make? What are the changes that need to happen in your life in order to invite those things that energize and excite you? Going back to the concept of giving and receiving with regard to being excited and energized in life, let's look at the things that are in your life right now. What are the things that you need to give away so that you can have some excitement? And what are the things that you need to receive so that you can have some excitement? Do you need to give away a board position that no longer brings you joy, but you just did it because you thought it's what you were supposed to do? Hence, now you feel like you're in a rut with it. Do you need to give up the desire to be like somebody else on social media, to have excitement in originality of content that you want to share? Do you need to give up an idea for your business that isn't working, but it's one you've been doing because you thought you should be doing it and the rut has just been carrying you along? What do you need to give up? And what do you need to receive? Do you need to receive training to make a change happen, to do that thing that excites you and energizes you? Do you need to receive wisdom or guidance from a mentor? Do you need to receive capital, money, to establish the thing that excites you and energizes you? Okay. Good. Write those things down. Write down what you need to give up, give away. What do you need to give? And what do you need to receive in order to invite that energy and excitement into your life? Remember, that is your springboard back to your deliberate path. And finally, let's go back to number 1. If there is no adversity in your life, friends, if you want to be on the deliberate path and outside of your rut, you must embrace this truth. You will face adversity. If you've identified the things that are energizing and exciting to you, and you've identified the things that you need to give away and the things that you need to receive, that means you've identified areas of your life that need to change. And when change happens, so does adversity. So get it into your convicted mindset right now that as you prepare to get out of your rut, to pursue energy and excitement, to give things away and to receive things, that means you are making decisions, and some of them are going to be really tough. And when you make those decisions, things are going to change, and that is not going to feel comfortable. That is not the comfort of the rut. That is the adversity of the deliberate path. Be prepared for adversity. Welcome adversity. Make it your teacher. Make it your companion, because therein you will discover your grit. You'll discover your resilience. You'll discover your ability to problem solve. You will discover your courage. In other words, friends, you're going to grow. You're going to discover that you have the ability to thrive and not just to strive in a rut. If today's episode has helped you or encouraged you to consider how you're going to get out of the rut you're in by energizing and exciting your life, will you please share this episode with a friend? Also, if you're an Apple Podcast user, please, would you write me a review on the Apple Podcast app? It can be 1-2 simple sentences about how this podcast has served you and enabled you to adopt a mindset that thrives. All right, friends, until the next bonus episode, please remember to speak truth over the lies, and you will thrive in any and every circumstance.